Okay, this is Eve Starr. I'm back. My phone keeps overheating. It does that when I'm doing a super high definition, but it's worth the picture. Those of y'all who follow me here know that I did have like a GoPro, and I thought it just fish-eyed and looked terrible. So I went back to using my old Samsung Galaxy. It really takes a nice video. Now here I've got some stuff that people have been asking me about my weaving. Now this is my small loom. Different people who are looking for a rigid heddle loom wonder what size they should get. Sorry, they're grading the road again. We have here the Sample It loom, and I believe it is, it's 10 inches wide. And that's fine because I've discovered after making many scarves on my 24-inch loom, which works too, just use the middle, that I don't really like scarves to be any wider than 8 or 9 inches unless it's an exception. And then I can use the bigger one. See that notch down there? That gives you a place where if you want to sit with a little table in front of you, like at the couch or whatever, you just put that little cutout into the corner of the table, and that holds it for you. And I sometimes wear it in bed, use it in bed to wear it. I put a little pillow under that side to lift it up a little bit so that I'm looking straight at the warp. Now this warp I used to make this Double Dutch Delft scarf. Hasn't been washed yet. It's going to be hot soapy water and my little plunger that I use. And then after that I'll thicken the fringe. It will change dramatically once it's washed. The cotton loses its papery feel and it becomes real fluffy. And that one's just many different textures of cotton in blues and creams and whites. And my daughter loves it. So made that one. And now I've got the same warp. This is how I did that. I did a half and half warp. And I like using that for making blocks. I like it for making like a jagged triangular stripe. Now this loom has a double heddle option on there. So you can sit another one of these behind it, back here, and you have 2 places for a heddle. And that's nice if you want to expand your repertoire and not have to make a handmade heddle to pick up your extra warp strings, warp yarns, you can. Now you'll see down here this kind of lacing method. I really like using it this way. I pull out a few, knot them, and that's how I was able to get the first one off. I just knotted them in front of re-knotted them after I cut them in front of the heddle, and then it didn't slip through. And then once I've knotted my bundles, I go through with one piece of strong yarn, and then I can wiggle it around kind of like a corset string and tighten it, and I like doing it that way. Now this is my toolkit over here, and of course this is going to be wound toward me using this ratchet and pawl system. And this is by Ashford, and I got a good deal on it at Milky's, Mielkes, I believe, on Etsy. Here are my favorite things to use when I'm weaving. I've got this, actually it was a clearance rack deal at Walmart, like $2 for this whole caddy. And it holds lots of short shuttles for me. You pretty much use a stick shuttle with this kind of thing. A boat shuttle's not really going to fit. Now this is a really neat little deal. The Swordfish Shuttle, and this is by Windhaven Fiber Arts on Etsy as well. But I love that can get through a really skinny heddle or shed. Well, the shed is the area that you're going through in between your up and down yarns, and so when the shed is getting tight, that's nice to use. I like using this bendy ruler, because if what's coming around the front beam is wrapped a bit, but I want to I measure every 6 inches, and I mark it with a crochet hook and a little piece of yarn sticking out the side. You can see one of them over there. And that gives me a 6-inch, and I kind of tick it off in a box of a little clipboard I keep too, so I know exactly how far I am. Especially with 2 scarves, that keeps you oriented so that you don't use it all up on the first one. And also, even the same scarf, you realize, okay, I'm in the midpoint now. I'm going to put my softest stuff here, right at the neck. So I've got that, and these are all my... Oh, and I use the paper to separate my warp and also to separate my finished work. So there'll be a lot more of these videos coming for you, done with me working when I have my videographer here. So from my little view to you, thanks for coming along today. See y'all soon. Bye.